информации от вендора Trellix. На сегодняшнем вебинаре мы познакомим вас, что нового происходит на рынке программного обеспечения, какие основные тенденции на рынке, и познакомим о всех новинках и новых возможностях решений Trellix и решений по защите конфиденциальной информации. Я хочу представить нашего главного спикера сегодня. Это консультант по кибербезопасности Мавсес Багирян. Также нас тут целая команда Softprom. Я хочу попросить вас задавать вопросы в чате на любом удобном для вас языке. У нас много людей, которые знают русский, казахский, армянский языки, грузинский, поэтому на любом удобном языке задавайте. Мы будем либо отвечать сами, либо транслировать. И давайте начинать. Mavses, I will give you the floor.
Thank you very much. So, yeah, as you said, you already just introduced me here. So a little bit about my background that, I have, first of all, I'm very pleased to have a session with you today. This subject is one of my favorites, and we worked on this more than 10 years, and we have a very good experience in this, and we will be very happy to share our experience with you guys and hearing you about your concerns, about your journey in your environment, and we will do our best to help you with the best solution. So let's start our session with sharing my screen, maybe. There you go. Can you stop this? Stop the session, stop the sharing, Evgeny. Okay, thank you very much. Very good. Well, today we are talking about the Trellix Data Security, which is contains different segments. So when we are talking about the data security, we are talking about the data loss prevention. We will talk about the things going or coming actually from mails. We have to check all the data passing through. We have to check even the databases, what's happening inside of the database, and all of the things that connected to the data. So the most important thing in the environment and the target for the traders and hackers, maybe at last, is going to be, again, your data. So it can be through, pass through, making some attack from network. It can be through mails. It can be just doing through some insider in your company, and so on. Many cases can be just involved in this situation. So I'm making three parts to better understanding of this. So first, data loss prevention, that giving us the way to discover out of the box all the classified and confidential things that we are just storing in our company. So we have to protect them, but first we have to know what and where it is. So for this, we have to do the discovery and research in our environment deeply, and also monitoring the data transactions and trying to protect from some data exfiltration. And also, we need to have real-time visibility through this that through the Trellix you can have all the tools required for that. And the data encryption as a second part can help us to encrypt the disk or the removable media that you are using, for example, the USB flash disk or external disk drive and so on. So there are many use cases that a man from the company just holding a confidential file, and he has to go to some other country and use this file for some conference or some presentation, even, I don't know, any case of use. So how he can take the file outside of the company but safe? This is how we are using it through the, for example, the encrypted disk or the media, the maybe flash USB media that they are using. So we are encrypting that, and it's going to be encrypted and secured by the password on there, and they are going to use it. We will see all of these use cases. I hope the time will give us the chance to show you all of this in real environment. So the last part that I will focus on that is database security, which is really important because this is the most important place, approximately I can say, uh, where we are storing our secrets and we are storing our different confidential things and so on. So this is the heart of the system, heart of the environment, or the portal that we have. So we have to protect this from different type of attacks. It can be a SQL injection. It can be the different type of the weak password, some insider doing something wrong, or viewing some cells inside of the database by non-privileged user. Someone tried to elevate the privilege and different type of things. No one can escape from the SQL injection or SQL or database threads in the world. If you heard about that lately, for example, DeepSeek from China just being attacked, and the attack was exactly SQL injection on them, and the breach was successfully done. So no one can be protected from them. That's why we need such a product to monitor all the activities inside of the database and check the vulnerability and have a real-time monitoring system on there. So in a little bit more detail, we need to have a coaching system and a notifying system. So for the coaching, we are controlling them, we are providing them what they need and preventing them from the things that is not connected to their scope of responsibility. That's the very important part that we have to notice. And so what if they try to do something out of the chart? So we have to be notified. So the alerting system for us is very important here. And we are controlling the activities inside of our both data loss prevention system, our managing of the key for the encryptions and also the database activities to stop data leaking. And that's the end of the protection for us, because through that we are keeping our secrets in a very safe place, and we are tracking the threats, we are tracking the confidential files inside of our environment. If it is going to, data can be in motion or at rest, for example, is going to even passing through the network, we are monitoring all the activity and we are tracking all of this, and we will see end to end how it's moved. So this is giving us a very big chance to have a big visibility and monitoring all of this, to understanding, doing our forensics and understanding how to act if we had such an issue in our environment. So there are differentiations that I'm summarizing this to passing through this. So the most important part that we are making a very good user-friendly management system for our customers. So everything is centralized. You can monitor things from one place. For example, for database security, you are monitoring more than maybe 100 of databases. You're controlling all these sensors which are installed already on those databases and controlling all the rules, all the logs and so on inside of one place, one management system. And also, in other hand, if you want to use some encryption and the data loss prevention, again, we have an e-policy orchestrator that giving you a chance to monitoring all these activities, making some rule sets, policies, and doing discovery and so on. So decentralization is one of the biggest point that we are providing with a very nice and user-friendly interface. We are very flexible with different type of databases, different type of environments, and we are not we are trying to not missing even a part to bring it being protected. Okay, so we can actually there is nothing to show off. Everyone knows the elder McAfee and now and FireEye also, and now we can call it Trellix. They merged. So I think it is well known, famous vendor, and no need to stop there. We have a lot of customer success stories that I'm not focusing on this because it is obvious, I think. So let's start a summary about the cycle that how we are making um, our protection for the data loss prevention. So first of all, you have to discover what you have in your system, then do the monitoring. But beforehand, when you are discovering where is your files, mentioning the store file server, for example, mentioning some databases, mentioning some email addresses that they are working on something or on something confidential, or even the web portal which is creating some confidential things on the output. So we are mentioning all of this inside of the system and making the classification rule for that. So in this case, we will understand, for example, if things are connected to PCI DSS, some HIPAA, some other compliance-based things, and or even the internal corporative secrets, we are making a classification name and tagging it on the file so we can track that file in whole environment. So first, classify and discover. I can merge these two in one step, and monitoring things passing through the system. Then user awareness. We are making rules for different users how to act with their environment and their secrets inside of the system. So we are enforcing the control on them on the next step, and then we will see the incident. So making this cycle, you will make our protection belt, and we will control approximately everything except human fact. So we can continue with uh, the things that connected to the IT side, not the human fact. So we can go to, I'm trying to summarize things because today we have very limited time. So let's go forward on this. So anyway, the data loss prevention, database security, and in total, and encryption and in total data security, we are trying to make a unified system. So the databases are in another source, so we can make a management separately, as I said, and the rest in other unified system. When we are talking about unified system, I mean even on-prem and cloud. So we can make the very nice integration even with the cloud, and we can unifiely using this in one place. So, for example, Trellix with SkyHigh as a sister company of the Trellix, these two product can be these two vendor can be integrated to each other and working fully compatible with each other, and they can work and they can share the policies and data with each other in a very secure way. So it's the API integration. So as you see here, for example, we have a e-policy orchestrator, we have a DLP endpoint system installed there, and we have a DLP prevent network and the monitor. So also the discovery. So inside of the network, we have DLP prevent, which can work with email security and also the web security system. And the other hand, we have a discovery. We can make an inventory of the secret files in different places, for example, inside of the databases or inside of some file servers and so on, or registering some document that it is very specifically created for the corporation and is going to have very specific points inside of this, and we are indexing it and making this as an important index inside of the data loss prevention, registering it as a confidential and secret holder document, and we are tracking this file to not get lost. So, in other hand, we have a DLP monitor that's receiving all the mirror data, and through that you can monitor everything connected to our corpus of the security connected to our data security. So you can check, you can monitor the even SMTP traffic, you can monitor the data. Even for example, I will show you how we can. I hope we'll have a time to show you to, for example, inside of the traffic, find a weak password which is used by users through, for example, web trying to logging in somewhere else. So in other hand, on the endpoint, we will controlling all the data being used by the user. So it's going to be very crucial to us to understand. So if the guy, the company is using Office 365, using some Google G Suite, for example, so how we can protect our data in there? So we have all our classification rules and policies inside of our on-prem system, even the private cloud system. But how we can control the Office 365 or O365? That's very easy. So by help of the sister company SkyHigh, we can integrate our DLP with the SkyHigh DLP, which both are fully compatible with each other, and you will control even what's happening inside of the box. It can be inside of your storage system, OneDrive. It can be in G Drive. It can be different type of the Amazon and so on. So also what's passing through the mail, if it is cloud mail. So we are integrating our we are integrating the SkyHigh with that, and we will understand what's happening with what we mentioned inside of the classification, which we are tracking all that. So the data loss prevention has this part. I already talked about it. Let's go a little bit fast. So the things that we are doing is we are adding a fingerprint inside of metadata. We can remedy that as well when it's going to on motion and coming out. We can classify by embedded way, and also we can make an inventory about not bringing those files, but bringing the metadata of files inside of our DLP system to understand what we have to protect and what is standing in some place in our environment. Also, as I said, we can check mails by integrating with the email security, which is working with these type of records. It is X record, I call. And in other hand, by the ICAP, if your web filtering system or next generation firewall is supporting ICAP, you can connect it to our DLP prevent, and we are controlling all those classified files and checking that if they are passing through the network and coming out through the, for example, the web interface. So the other hand, in the other hand, we are doing an OCR as well. So we are doing some discovery. We are checking, for example, even if we have a picture by the discovery, we are running some scan, and even we find some picture, and inside of the picture we found some classified or secrets, which makes this picture a confidential file for us. We can tag this even remotely. So by the discovery, we have a permission to go inside and do that classification, and then tracking this through the network, or even if it comes to your endpoint system, through the endpoint. So Trellix and SkyHigh are absolutely unified, and they're working together in a very easy manner. So as I said, we can use the network prevent network DLP to integrate with some email security system or your exchange to check the things and sending some X record and so on. Let's not forget that we are also providing a very, very powerful email security system, email security product, and we can integrate with that as well. And the DLP product is absolutely compatible with that, and you can integrate it with it. So it is our email security, which is for now, which is covered in a different era. That's a new phase of the security on the email security. You can for example, you can imagine that we are using an IPS in front of the email, the MTA, for example. Okay, so we are capturing things that nobody can find. So through that, we will find some more, for example, phishing, spear phishing system things happening in your mail. We can check the mail bombers. We can see a lot of things there. And through all of this, we can control all the data, confidential data or secret files, passing through even the body by the email address, controlling the email address, checking the headers, and all the things, all the package passing through the email security. So these two are getting integrated to each other through this architecture, as you see here. So we are integrating our DLP prevent on-prem, it can be, and DLP prevent is going to integrate with the email security cloud, for example, And that's a secure way, as you see. And in other hand, the DLP prevent is connected to your ePolicy orchestrator. So you will see all these events inside of your on-prem ePolicy orchestrator. As you see here, this bidirectional connection here is showing that email security is getting checked, sending things to the prevent, checking if these files are confidential and classified or not. Then the prevent is sending this back to the email security with a note inside of the X record by the header. So we are making a policy here to see if X record contains this, for example, we are going to contain it, quarantine this mail, we are going to reject it, and so on. So at the end, it's going to be delivered and it's going to be checked by your MTA, email exchange, for example. Okay? So guys, do you have any question till now? If you have some question, I'm here to help you with. If not, we can continue with a little bit about classification and going to the environment. Okay? Evgeny, do we have anything inside of chat or questions?
I can hear you, Moses.
Do we have anything inside of chat? Any question?
Yeah. We have one question from Mark.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Yeah. Is it can be hidden installation of agents?
The agent, actually, no need to hide this, but it is protected. So in other hand, yes, we can make our agent hidden inside to not get show inside of the task manager or inside of the task bar, but we are not hiding our agent totally. That's very specific, scenario. What else? Jasmine has a question. Go ahead.
Right now, just one question. Yeah.
Jasmine, just raise the hand.
Yeah, one more question, man.
Go ahead.
Жасмин, эти все продукты могут быть как в едином бандле, так и отдельными продуктами.
These are on-prem, standalone, or is it monitored in the web console or physical? Yeah. So we are, as I showed already, inside of the architecture of this. Yeah, we are using the ePolicy orchestrator to managing all the things through there, and the web is separated. The database security is separate, and both are web-based, and we are monitoring it through the web orchestrators, managers. Okay. Mark. So okay. So let's go forward to the next step. So the classification. So first of all, we have to understand how we are doing the classification. We can do this manually. So I'm very, recommending this to all our admins to when you are starting this product, first make your tag, then make it manual, make the manual tagging enabled for yourself to check all the policies before running it to the client. So we can do the automatic classification as well. We can add the fingerprints or embedded classify way. And also we can be integrate with MIP, Titus, and Bolden James. So it is Fortress, I think now. So we are covering even the third-party classification way, but proudly we have our classifier, which is an advantage in compare with other vendors. So this is the way that we are doing. We are going this very short. This is the way that we are making our classification and running it to the policy. So we are using definitions with the dictionaries and templates and different type of patterns covering by wildcard, covered wildcard, regex, and so on. So we have also the approximation inside of the classification we can use. We are classifying based on the application, file location, properties of the file, meta file, information, and so on. So we are using rules with user-based exceptions. Even we make we can doing exceptions for different type of reaction that we have to do on different type of the event. So the rule set can be separated. It is not a total rule set, making a general rule set for everyone. No, we can go granular inside of the rule set and the policies inside of the rule set, and making this very specific for different group or teams in the environment and even different places. So the DLP policy is managing all of this in one place, and you will see this inside of the environment. So yeah, we talked already about this, and that's the goal, that covering the protection to being aware of everything, considering that there can be an insider who can intentionally or unintentionally doing something wrong, and you will get data loss. So the data privacy, that this is very important for many many companies to covering all these compliances. So the SecOps use case as well. So they are not just files. There can be some codes inside of the environment that is very confidential for you, and it is very crucial to keep them safe. So even SecOps can be protected by our data loss prevention. So let's go to check some environment here. So for example, let's start from the e-policy orchestrator that I said. So this is our e-policy orchestrator. So from here, sorry. So from here, we can manage, as I told you, manage all the DLP policy from here. Let's go a little bit fast on this and check what we have. So inside of the policy, as you can see, different type of the policy we have. We have the OCR, for example, which is working on the image inside of the checking the inside of the image if there is some confidential things there. As you see here, inside of the policy here. So we are checking GDPR, we are checking HIPAA, PCI, and so on. So let's check what we found, for example, based on this rule. So we are coming on the rule here. It is the network base. And as you see, for example, one of the, there is a critical thing here. So we can call this one to show. And as you see, we have this here. So this file is captured by this classification. This is the rule, and we found this. So I'm clicking on this, and we will see the evidence as well. So one of the options that you have after reporting the incident, you can even ask for receiving. It is optional by your policy inside of your environment to receiving the evidence of file or not. Okay, so different type of things. For example, another one. So let's see this one, for example. There you go. This is one of the event that we received as an evidence. You can see that. So there you go, the information about who did that and so on. Okay, so yeah, and the access control list event monitor. Inside of this DLP incident manager, you will have a lot of information about what's happened inside of such an event. So for example, we can go to uh, other policy to see how it works. For example, block PCI content. So how we are controlling this part. As you see inside of the rule, based on the data protection, we are covering it on application base, on clipboard, removable clipboard protection again in the web browser separately. As I told you, we can go granular on each um, type of the policy that we have inside of the rule set. So, for example, let's go with this print, for example. If it is printed or not, we can have this, we can check for mails and a lot of other things that you have. So let's go with some mail. For example, this guy sent this mail. So there you go. The message is uh, recorded here as a uh, as a evidence. So the rule is mentioned and the classification used for that. So through this, you will see who sent it and how, what they used to send it, right? So this is the mail body, for example. Oh, it is downloaded. I don't know I can open it or not. In here, let's see. Sorry if it is very old system. So the resources is just to showing this in resources very limited here. Oh man, I skipped it. So anyway, we captured the information inside of this. I'm not pretty sure that we can open it in somehow because oh my goodness. Okay. So anyway, you have these two as an evidence and you can review what's inside. Again, this is optional and you can ask for evidence or not. Okay. So we can go with some other policies, for example, web application. So we are limiting some sites from web application to being accessed, and we are controlling that to not sending some file to that site, specifically the URL. So as you can see, it was explore exe. So the rule is web application blocking this. So they're not allowed to send it to this site. The site is blocked by the URL. Okay. So let's go with other things. For example, let's check with this. Sorry. Yeah. So, for example, this one, web protection. Yeah, cloud protection, for example, again. And yeah, cloud incident. So that's what's happened with what we already integrated with. Okay, so we shared our classification with a sky high, which is integrated with the G Suite here, you see. Okay, so we are sorry, it is not just that, it is also covering the storage in cloud as well. So we are covering by this policy all storage and even mails after we are integrating with the G Suite or Office 365 and so on. Okay, so through this rule, we are just getting information that this file was confidential, and this is evidence. That's why it is happened like this. And as you see, it is by the short message, you will see where we found this. Okay. So after opening this, you will see more detail as an evidence, right? So if you have some question, just shout it here, and or otherwise we can go forward to see one more thing and then go to database. Okay. Evgeny, any question?
I don't see any question.
Oh, okay, amazing. And thanks to Gorgin as well to answering the question in the chat as well. So let's go forward to one more option, may be very interesting for you. So we are talking about the encryption, but we are not. We didn't show in real where is it. So for example, the environment of this is again inside of the ePolicy orchestrator, as I said. So for example, let's go to the policy, directly going to the policy. So by the policy, yeah, we have we are able to control the encryption of the disk, even it is encrypted by BitLocker or firewalls in Mac. Okay, we can control it by Trellix native. I want to find it where it is hidden here. So they changed the name, and I can barely find it by the new name. So anyway, just yeah, native data. Yeah, there you go. So we are covering this type of the disk encryption, even if they are already encrypted. After we are installing our agent there, we can manage their encryption as well. Okay, so the other hand, we can do our encryption. So through our encryption, we can make a disk, can be all disks, it can be different scenarios. It is written here. So you can just, for example, do the boot encrypted. So after they want to just get log before booting up, the first step of booting up the system, they will see such a interface, this one, and they will write the password. Then it's going to start, for example. That's what we are using on the on the page logon. Actually, you can do some additional things through the policies. You can use even the full disk, any drive, how many drive that they have, or how many disks are connected there. You can do all of this as well. So you can manage all the components from the policy orchestrator from this board and checking this. Even you can make a recovery enable on this. The key size is it depends. It depends on the policy of your organization or company. So you will choose how to do that. And also for a very, very, very specific cases of some fault on some system, we are able to provide you a boot up disk for recovering the encrypted disk after even the system is crashed. So you can bring it back because we are covering the recovery already enabled inside of the ePolicy orchestrator. So we can do the boot up disk to save our disk. Okay. So in the other hand, we have a very, very important tool as a file and removable media encryption. This is very interesting. This is one of my favorites. For example, I'm coming to one of very interesting part. So as you see, we have a lot of options here, but most of my customers love this. So this one is making your typical USB drive, making your typical USB drive a very strong encrypted flash USB drive. So through this, you are enabling this to through the agent. You're installing this application inside of the agent, and you are giving them permission to protecting this USB drive, any USB drive connected. By it is optional by the user, or you can force it to do that. Depends on the policy that you are using. So, for example, I just enabled the disk here. Yeah, it is here, and it is already encrypted. I think it is open here. Yeah. So, as you see, that's my disk. I want to protect this USB disk. So I'm clicking on this, and it's showing that it is already encrypted. So I did it before to use our time better. So as you see actually you saw that we have a recover and the remedy of the key as well as the tools. So let's go forward to see where it is coming. As you see, it is locked, and when I'm clicking on this, it's expected to ask for passport, but no passport asked. Why? Because the key is already there. I'm allowed this for this user, and the user has a key. So this disk, this USB flash is going to work on this computer without any issue. But if you're adding this to somewhere else, for example, on this computer, the scenario is going to be different. There you go. So I'm going to this again, more visible. So see, little bit different. So I'm double click on this and I see, oh my God, there is nothing here. So my files are not here. Everything, see, that's another story. Sounds like it's not opening, but we have a portable file there, the application inside of the USB installed after the encryption, which is going to ask you to authenticate. Then you will see your encrypted file. So you will use such a thing inside of some notebook, maybe giving this to someone who's going to abroad for different seminars and so on. So providing this USB drive to them, the USB drive is just working on his laptop. And even if he doesn't have any laptop, you want to use it somewhere else, so he has to authenticate, or someone, if it stole this USB drive from him, they cannot do anything without that because the file is not visible there. So the only thing they can do is formatting the USB flash, and they will not receive anything. So let's finish with the data loss part and go to my favorite part, which is database security. So let's do this part a little bit fast through this, just segmentation. So by database security, again, when we are talking about the data, we have to discover and do our classification. This classification is not talking about the tagging things and so on. When we are talking about the database, we are talking about classifying things, separating things by based on the compliances and so on, or data, sensitive data that we know where it is stored inside of the database. So we have to have an eye on that and doing the full monitoring of it. Beside of all that, day in, day out, hackers are working to find some vulnerability on different type of the databases. Can be Oracle, MS SQL, and so on. So doesn't matter. They will find the vulnerability. So who is going to be winner here? The guy who has fully visibility on the system, monitoring things, checking the vulnerabilities day after day, and checking the patch. It can be even in a lifetime. So checking the weak password and so on. We will come to this inside of the environment. So I forgot to open this to you, and I was talking about that. So these are my classifications, my segmentation for the protecting the database. So we have a I'm just summarize our tools here. So first, we have a vulnerability manager, which discover different kind of threats or activities inside of the database, just comparing with different compliances. And we have the database activity monitoring, which is monitoring all the the transactions on very specific cells that we want to see what's happening there, but different kind of users that we have or unknown users there, and controlling the data to doing drop or not, making some rules on there to protecting this. Also, we in a lifetime we can have a visual patching. So visual patching is talking about the vulnerability lifetime vulnerability um, checking. So beside of this, also we have the vulnerability assessment tools, which we can periodically sending some vulnerability scan to understand what is going on there. So the supported platform is very wide in our side. So you can see we can install it inside of the private cloud. We are supporting even the Docker containers. We can install on-prem, fully on-prem. So we can send our information, all the logs and the alerts to the SIEM product, or also we can be integrate with XDR systems as well. So it's recommended also here, it's important. It's recommended to have a backend database separately and making this cluster. So by the redundancy, this system is very powerful, very, very powerful. So the interesting part, how we are doing all of that. So that's talking about the sensor that we are installing on the database. So we are not doing this remotely, but from our management system, absolutely different from what we are doing in the e-policy orchestrator. Inside of the e-policy orchestrator, we are doing it remotely, getting the privilege and sending this remotely. But inside of the database, we are not doing to do that. It doesn't mean that we cannot do that. We are not designing this system to deploying it remotely, because database is very, very sensitive, and the company is very sensitive on this part. So we are providing the sensor to them, and the very, very easy way of installation. instruction of the installing this and integrating and connecting this to the management system. We are providing all of this. They will do this. They can do the mass if they have, for example, more than 100 or 200 databases. They are doing it, in a massive way, or they can do this installation one by one. So the good thing is, before everything, we are going to do the network discovery as well, to find how many databases they have in their, based on the network, VLANs, you can, or IP range, you can provide that, and they will discover how many database they have, what type of database they have, and on which OS it is installed. Then we are providing the compatible sensor to them to installing it in there. So we almost, I can say, supporting all type of the OSs and covering all the most enterprise databases which has been used by companies in the world. So we are talking about the sensor, which is working with the database, installing inside of the database, but how it is working. So the interesting part here is I'm just merged things here to go a little bit faster. So how it is working. The agent is standing on memory. Most of the competitors are using network-based. They are standing like a gateway. They are standing like different type of things, making proxy and or transparent way. They are checking the data transactions connected to the database and so on. But when you are standing on the memory, you will see full things. For example, you see this command run. They did that select for credit card. What we can see by the network-based solution and what we can see by the memory-based solution, both can be if it is written like this, select like this. What if it is written like this? So network-based, it's a big question to understand that they can see this or not, or they can see this or not. Mostly they cannot. And absolutely they cannot if it is increased in this way and this way. But we don't care how they are doing that. We are standing on the memory and we have a full visibility on that. So we are not modifying things. It is already done. It is came to memory. We monitored it. We send it to our manager. We are making some alert. We are making some rules, and we know our next step to do. So in this way, we are not making any type of latency and increasing the utilization of the databases, the host. Right? So if we have any question here, I can go with that. Otherwise, I can go to, before saying thank you to everyone, I can show you the real interface. Do we have any question here?
Yeah, I see question
Does
from
DLP
Arman.
record voice? Actually, I don't understand
About
what
record
exactly you are
voice,
doing this.
Garigin answered.
Uh-huh. Because these kind of things are basically connected to UAM, not connected to these kind of things. So yeah, we don't have any other question. Yeah,
Yeah, we have one more question from Arman, SAC.
Arman. Yeah. So on the other PC, there will be an easy way to format that. Absolutely, they can format it. That's about the FRP. So yeah, they can format it, but they cannot use it. They cannot find the encrypted file inside of there. They cannot bring it back because it is just vanished. Okay, even if they did, if they are so smart and they can bring the file back, the file is encrypted. Decrypting that file is mostly impossible. Okay, they are not, they cannot do that, breaking that key. Okay, but the keys, there is no worry about that. The keys are kept inside of the e-policy orchestrator, and you can, if you got some fail, you can recover that, and you can use the recovery by the tool. Other question?
Thank you. No questions.
Perfect. So there you go. The database security. So this is a system that we have. Okay, I just timed out. So let's do it again. The session were time out. So this is what we have. So let's go to, actually this is the first page that we are receiving the alerts, listing the alerts that we have. There are many things that we received here. So let's go with that. So what is this alert? So we made some policy, and the rule is talking about these compliances and even things specific. So from here, you can see both custom rules and the compliance connected rules. So, and the instance, where is the instance? When you're going to the detail, you can see the, sorry, you can see the statement as well. What was that? Okay. So even inside of the statement or inside of the things that you're receiving by the dashboard or the alerts, there is an option that's going to be very interesting for you guys. I will just open a random one. So if something is very confidential and even the admin of database security are not allowed to do that, not admin, actually the operator of this database security system. So mostly the admin of this system is split password and shared between two departments to not doing everything here. So the operator of this system, the security officer, by this policy will not see all the information inside of that alert or even the content which is released from there, okay, based on that alerts or policies. Okay, so from here you can, by the regex, you can ask for hiding it, making that output hidden, masked. Okay, so we have an action on each policy, an alert. Through this, for example, we are making this statement here. So if they did something as a PCI privileged user, this one is captured from our full alerts. So we made a policy connected to this part. Then we will ask to doing this action. It can be sending the alert as a low severity, medium, high notice, and then even we have an option if you have an intrusive agent, intrusive user inside of the database, you can do the terminate of user session as well, or quarantine this user for example, 10 minutes. Okay, who did that? So other hand, you can archive it, you can send it to the syslog if you have a syslog integrated with that, or you can send an alert to email. Depends what you found. Okay, any question here? No. So about the vPatch, we talked. This is an amazing part that we are using here for lifetime monitoring all the databases and being aware of some weakness of the database, for example, a SQL injection that happened there. So let's go inside of one of these randomly. So you can see what is going on here. There is a reference here you can use. There is a CV that we are covering by this, and the databases we assigned to being monitored under this policy. So where we are looking to find things, at the end of the rule, we are telling him that go inside of the memory. Things are passing through the memory. Okay? So again, this is standing there. So how we are managing our databases? Through the sensors, we are installing an agent on the database host. So getting authenticate with our system, our management system, database security management, we are approving it, and at the end we are going to fully monitor that. So how we are fully monitoring it? For example, this Oracle server. There you go. I can enable this to do the network monitoring as well in additional, sending, covering these kind of things, not everything. Error is enough. Okay, depends on the policy that you are covering in your organization. And also at the end, if we have some problem and we are not satisfied with that, or we get some breaking connection between agent and the management, or it's not getting managed normally, or sending the policy, applying the policy there, we have an option here to generate the analytic package, which is absolutely just connected to the agent and the management logs connected to this. And you are sending this to the Trellix support. They will help you ASAP to fix this. So, in the other hand, the DBMS detail will give us a little bit more things going through that. So, these things were default. We can change it. You saw this in that place. Okay? So, let's go to the DBMSs. Inside of the DBMSs, we are adding things, for example, the vulnerability assessment, activating on this, or just database activity monitoring. Through this, for example, we have a full monitoring. I can go there, go a little bit inside. Let's see what we have. So, as I told you, we can have an intrusive way to check everything from inside. So in that way, you have to enabling this to check what's happening inside of the database. Okay, so we can exclude some users activities from here. So this user is okay, we know that. For example, some pen test is happening in your company, so you're excluding that user. Let them do anything they want. So the other hand, network and memory depends on you. You're enabling it or not, but the port can be variable. So in your side, maybe you're not using, for example, the 1521 for Oracle. It's the custom port that you're using, or using some dynamic. So you have to add this here. And the application mapping, which is very important. So through the application mapping, we will go and have a journey there. You will see what's happening there. But in application mapping, you will see more detail, and you will get more visibility by enabling it. It is very, very interesting. And even we have a rule for application mapping. We will come on that. So DDL and DCL, that's obvious. What is it? So the alternative, that's not very necessary, but as an alternative user, you can use this to connecting to the database. So these are the details that we can go through this. I think our time is a little, our time is also finished. So if I have about 5 minutes or 10 minutes maximum, I can go to reports. Is it okay for everyone? Just, yeah.
Let's try to go briefly.
Yeah. So let's go with vulnerability assessment and the result that we have. So we are creating some rules to periodically scanning our databases. So let's go directly. So first of all, this one, for example. So this is what we chose to check our all MSSQLs, okay, vulnerabilities. So let's go directly to the result that we received. So for example, one of this full scan, for example. So that's the detail. Generate the report. Let's see. There you go. I'm creating the scan summary, scan test. Okay. We don't have very time for that. Yeah, let's go to the report of this. This is the general report, the summary of that. We are not going very deep with this. So you will see the total things happened there. Okay. So we can go with the very detail as well, but this is a summary. And even inside of the summary, you will see a very nice detail about the things happening there. So, and the good thing is the CV is written here. You can search it in, I don't know, even in CV Bank to see what is it and how to remedy that as well. Actually, inside of the detail, you will see the way to remedy of this as well. So there you go. This is the report that we are receiving. It can be in HTML or even the PDF format. You can receive it. Okay, so the rules that I said, the application mapping. Inside of the application mapping, you can go create different the type of the policy that you want. For example, I'm using this one, Node backend, MSSQL, for example, and I'm selecting this and going for the audit. Let's go for audit wizard to make it a little bit easier to briefing it. Okay, so in here, for example, I'm choosing, this is what I'm using always. I'm clicking apply. I'm doing the full audit, but it has to be very short. When you are starting this product, you are using the full audit, maybe for 10 minutes, even for half an hour. That's enough to see the, all the things happening there for one time, for example. Then applying it to the DBMS. So DBMS is mentioned on the first part. Yeah. So the full audit and the rest, we already gone there. You know what is it? Okay. So after all of this, you will find a lot of logs in a raw mode, very low severity, and you will find, for example, something connected to privileged users. Okay. So in that case, PCI suspect. PCI suspects, for example. You will see something connected to this. You will make a rule, a specific rule for that. So this is the way we can start. So drop event session, for example, this one. First, we saw something. Then we made a policy for that. So the way of making a policy is very easy here. For example, this is a typical alert after I received by the audit. I search something, some user, some time. That is very interesting for me. That's what's happened in that time with that user inside of my database. So I will come to this alert and I will check this as a resolve. If you can acknowledge that it is okay, or you can add exception for it. By the other hand, if it is not a rule, you can go and create a new policy for that, new rule for that, directly from here. So I'm clicking on a new, and there you go. You have the things to set for this specific event. Okay? Any question, guys? Any question? No. So the last part that I have here is the configuring the vulnerability assessment. The configuring a vulnerability assessment is absolutely here. And as you see, it is, again, very user-friendly and very easy to manage. Okay? And also at the end, I want to mention that we have an ability to check if our sensors are updated or not, our softwares here. And we can send update directly from here. As you see, we are not saying that we cannot do remote deployment. We don't want to do the remote deployment. But after we already installed there, we can do this remotely for updating the sensor. Okay? So I think it's enough for now. So guys, if you have some question, I'm here to answer all the question you want to answer. Okay? Oh, yes, Arman. So there is a question here. Dear Moses, can
Regarding
okay?
the DPI
It is
or
about the right protected. Yeah, absolutely. So in
yes,
DLP, actually, it doesn't matter. It is not connected to just FRP, but in both way, by the device control inside of the DLP system and the FRP, in both way, we can do that. So even if the system doesn't need a DLP solution, you can install the FRP there. And if the flash disk drive is not protected, the USB drive is not going to work there. It's protected. You can do this through the FRP itself as well. So, any other question, guys?
I think we need to tell about the licensing of the database security as well.
It's counting. Yeah, that's very interesting question. Actually, as far as I remember, it is talking about the minimum is 1 to 25 is counting the databases that you are using. So there is a range to counting the license, and I think Yevgeny or you you
Yes,
can
but the idea
open
is
this more.
yes, the idea is that the licenses are distributed to the database instance only. So if you have one database with multiple different applications inside, you will be charged only for single database instance. If your database has a cluster, so you will need to purchase two licenses. And this is easiest way to have database activity monitoring and database firewalling on board. There
That's
is
a very good question. You remind me of a very important thing. When you are making your databases listing here, and you're making a DBMS, you can, if, for example, these two, just imagine that these two are both Oracle and they are cluster. Yeah, we are counting each instance, but these are cluster. We are receiving information from them, so it can be conflicted. So our database monitoring system can configure this as a cluster, as a sensor here as well. So this product will understand that these two are cluster, and the view of the actually the it's going to normalizing the event that you are receiving if it is cluster. So I'm extremely just recommending you to, if you are using a cluster, adding the cluster here, that this is a cluster. Okay, so continue. Sorry
so the
to interrupt.
idea behind the product is to have the debug mode enabled, logging on the debug level without affecting the performance. For instance, if you use it in a monitoring mode only, your CPU utilization will not rise more than 5%. Regarding the firewalling, it depends on database size. There is no limitation for database sizes. It's all depends on your virtual machine or the hardware performance, but the allocation is not more than 10%, 10 to 50. If something
Actually, there is an important thing here I mentioned one time. For allocation, remember, we are again highly recommending to use the database not inside of when you are using the production, not inside of the database security product, the host. It has to be dedicated. The database has to be dedicated as a backend. In this way, the performance is very high. You will see all the queries getting resolved easier.
Okay, guys, in case of any questions, everyone from the Softprom and the partners will be ready to answer to your questions. So communicate with us. We are ready to provide you free demo trials without any time limitations, and we can do the stuff on your platform directly on premise, etc., etc. So keep in touch, and thank you very much, everybody, for participation. Moses John, thank you for interesting
You're
stuff.
welcome.